taking a closer look at education this legislative session. I'm Jill Horner. This is Comcast Newsmakers. With me this hour is Pennsylvania State Representative Stephen Bloom. Thanks for being with us.
Oh, thank you, Jill. Great to be here.
We're talking about the governor's education reform package. There are a variety of different components, but let's talk about teacher evaluations. Why is this something that you want to address? Why is it something that the governor wants addressed? And how can teacher evaluations change in order for them to potentially be more effective?
Right now, Jill, the system that is in place to evaluate our teachers basically gives over 99% of teachers a satisfactory evaluation. There's a tiny percentage that is unsatisfactory, but that's the only option there is, either satisfactory or unsatisfactory. We have schools, some of which are failing students in a fairly dramatic way, and yet the teachers in those schools are still being awarded satisfactory evaluations. So the idea behind the governor's proposal to increase the types of evaluation grades that can be given to teachers is to help us distinguish which teachers are really doing a good job, which teachers are doing maybe not so good of a job, and which teachers are doing a pretty poor job. And so we can begin to finally understand which teachers are successful and which teachers aren't, instead of a system now that basically, almost like social promotion, where they advance whole classes of kids to the next grade even though some aren't doing well. That's kind of the system we have now. All the teachers are getting a satisfactory grade. This finally allows us to start to look at which teachers are really doing well and which aren't, and have some accountability there so that the students are best served.
Would one set of measurements be applicable to every type of teacher, though? I'm thinking of a high school chemistry teacher as compared to an elementary special ed or resource or speech pathology teacher.
Different types of evaluations, and part of what the governor's proposing is a mix, not simply relying on the results of, say, a standardized test as the sole evaluation tool for a teacher, but looking at a mix of performance measures. And those will be worked out in the legislation, but that's the idea, is to create a fair system for the teachers, but one that does hold them accountable to perform so that the students get quality teaching. And
that's just one of the components. And another issue to be addressed is the EITC. This is the Educational Improvement Tax Credit. This actually gets businesses involved in the educational system, but businesses in turn get a tax credit.
It's been a really successful system, and it's got a lot of bipartisan support in Pennsylvania, because what it does, it allows businesses to make a donation to scholarship organizations that will then help students, everything from pre-K through high school, who are attending different schools, and it allows kids who might not have access to those schools otherwise to get a scholarship. It gives the businesses a tax credit, and it's not coming out of the state treasury. It's money that's coming out of the private sector to help support education alternatives in the Commonwealth. It's very popular, and the proposal is to expand that fairly dramatically because it's been so successful the way it's already been conducted. I'm very excited about that.
In addition to that, and this is an issue that has been talked about for quite some time in the legislature at this point, it's school choice or vouchers. How is this conversation progressing right now, and has there been movement in this conversation?
The Opportunity Scholarship is a real key component of any type of school choice or school competition or school reform legislation, and it's being talked about in the current form to apply to basically those students who are trapped in the 5% of schools that are deemed to be the worst schools in Pennsylvania, failing schools that are persistently and chronically not educating their children. We're saying that kids who meet income criteria in those schools would have an opportunity to take the state funding that would normally go with that student to that failing school and instead choose an alternative school, whether it be a parochial school, whether it be a private school of some other kind, whether it be a charter school, and simply take that funding with them to another school so that they can get a decent education. They're not trapped in a system that's going to destroy their opportunities. And it also puts some pressure on those schools to improve, to keep the kids. So that's really the essence of competition, how competition can improve the outcomes for all students. And the program that we're talking about now would give that to the students who are attending those 5% of the worst schools in the state, most of which are in our bigger urban areas.
All right, and a variety of other components, including charter school accountability and mandate relief, to be addressed through this education reform package as well. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Jill.
We've been talking with Pennsylvania State Representative Stephen Bloom. I'm Jill Horner.